that said, I want to talk about distractions and the fact that Donald Trump seems to really be trying to distract us right now. And it's kind of pathetic and sad what he's trying to do and how he's trying to do it. We'll cover it here in just a second. There's a couple things we got to talk about before we get into those distractions. First of all, we need to talk about fan art. And this is a piece of fan art right here. Wrong one. There's the one right there. This one is from Dandadan. It says, I like Suris a lot. He's been my favorite vocal commentator for nearly a decade now. So even though I have zero skills with fan art, I want to make something to show my gratitude. Look, all skills are things that can be developed, and even if you think you have zero skills in a thing, I still appreciate you spending time sending something to support the channel. It means a lot to me, irrespective of if you feel like you have skills or not. So, thank you, Danadan. I appreciate it. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. That all said, we need to talk about what Trump is trying to do through a couple of lenses here. Officer Tatum has a response to this, and I'll cover that here in a second, but it's interesting to me. So a quick timeline of everything that's happened. Trump months ago said that he would disclose the Epstein files, and then in the same interview said that maybe not, because there's some bogus stuff in there, but his base heard he would disclose the Epstein files. Then his base was given a cocktail of conspiracy theory and nuttery pertaining to the Epstein files, saying that, oh, well, a lot of Democrats would be implicated in that. Also, Jet, thank you so much for the raid. And take it. Thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. That a bunch of Democrats would be in trouble if the Epstein files were to come out. And that's why they didn't use the Epstein files on him. And now, after Attorney General Pam Bondi has told everybody that the Epstein files are on her desk and she's going to review them, after doing a phase 1 of the Epstein files where everybody held giant books for the camera and just was like, hey, here's the binders of everything with the Epstein files. This is phase 1. Phase 2 coming soon. Well, phase 2 never happened, and Donald Trump is, well, he's been losing a lot of his MAGA base because of this. And as a result, he's been trying to distract his base and everyone else in regards to the Epstein file thing. So here's what's likely happened. The Epstein files, as Legal Eagle actually pointed out in one of his videos, largely have already been made public. We know a lot of the names. We know a lot of the people who have done bad things. A lot of that is available for public view. However, the Epstein files themselves that are supposedly the files that have, the client list, all of the people who Jeffrey Epstein actually brought onto his islands, not just the registry that showed how often people were on his planes, but that specifically say who had engaged in illicit activity, the files that have the photos of the people who had actually gone onto the island and hurt underage girls. Old Gus, thank you for redeeming your points for an ill-timed, but I guess that's why you're a monster. So, despite the fact that that stuff has not been made public, we largely kind of have an idea of what the Epstein files are already, because a lot of it had been used in the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. So, now that we're here, now that we are in a world where the Epstein files that have been touted around like the carrot at the end of a stick aren't surfacing and aren't going to surface, Trump has been panicking because it just makes him look like a pedophile. It just makes him look like he's a child predator. When the files that are supposed to be, they incriminate so many Democrats, okay, then why are you protecting the pedophile Democrats? Like, that's what you're basically saying. Whether we agree that the Democrats as a party are that or not, you, Trump, and your Attorney General, Pam Bondi, by exception, or by extension, have basically fed people the narrative that you're defending pedophiles. Even if it's not the case in reality, that's the narrative that's going to be fed, and it's because you stoked the flames of conspiracy theory where the Epstein files were concerned for so goddamn long. No decision you make is going to look any different than that. So, Where are we now? What ways has Trump tried to distract us? Well, one way he's tried to distract us has been by saying that he's going to deport Rosie O'Donnell. I wish I could make this shit up, but I don't know enough people who care about Rosie O'Donnell, like in the positive or the negative, for them to have a decision on that, like at all. I don't. It doesn't make any sense to me, other than as a way to try to distract people further and further away from the Epstein file business. And then, what was the next one that he did? He said he talked to Coca-Cola and was bringing Coca-Cola, like real Coca-Cola back with sugar in it. And now Steak and Shake has jumped onto that and said, oh, yep, nope, we're making America healthy again by putting sugar in soda again. Like, okay, so high fructose corn syrup is technically worse than sugar by a degree, but that doesn't mean that it's healthy. You're not making America healthy again by giving people sugar. That's not how sugar works. Sugar is not a healthy thing to imbibe a lot of, and yet that's exactly what we end up doing. Right? Said Golgari, nah, Rakdos Reanimator. Zero King says, RFK would never. Yeah, no, look, I like Steak and Shake, but I'm starting to feel less like I want to have any Steak and Shake as I've been hearing more of the shit that they've been spewing out, where they're just saying, oh, we're gonna make America healthy again. We are like, no, I don't think that's what's happening. Not even in the slightest. Not even a little bit. But regardless, that's been another distraction that has been thrown our way. So what's the next distraction that's been thrown our way? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at that after I get this Glissa Sunslayer down so that my opponent won't have a third creature available, and then we'll pop over to that. Officer Tatum, you've actually got the story here for what the next distraction is supposed to be. So let's go ahead and hear it. Let's go over...
The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup subverting the will of the American people.
But bro, you can't mess with the American people and interfere in an election.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Are they talking about the stuff that the Mueller report uncovered? Because the Mueller report did actually show evidence of Donald Trump getting help from the Russian government. No policies, just happy little accidents. So here, just real quick, a brief, very, very brief situation where that report was concerned, so that you kind of have an idea of what went on. So, what did the Mueller report uncover? It confirmed that Russia did, in fact, interfere with the 2016 election cycle. Hacking and release of Democratic emails via Russian military intelligence were found, but what was also found is that Trump had multiple email contacts with Russia. Tons. What was not found in the Mueller report. Here's a quote from the report. Although the investigation established that the Russian government perceived it would benefit from a Trump presidency, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump cabinet conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. So, what does this mean? Well, it means that what happened is Russia interfered with the election, but it did not seem to do so with a direct connection to Trump. It seemed more like Putin, for one reason or another, believed that a Trump presidency would be better for him than whoever Trump was going against at the time, Hillary Clinton. Figured that a Clinton presidency would not be as beneficial to Russia, and that turned out to be the case. Trump was big in on Putin for the longest time. The report did also outline at least 10 possible ways that the investigation itself got obstructed. The Mueller report ultimately found that, yes, Russia interfered. What it did not find was a direct link to one Donald Trump in those interferences. But it did find those interferences regardless. And I think that's something that more people need to realize where that report is concerned. People have this really bad habit of engaging in binary thinking, where they think, oh, well, the Mueller report didn't show Russia collusion with Trump's cabinet specifically. But that's not the same thing, ultimately, as it not finding that Russia did try to interfere in our elections, which it did multiple times. MI6 uncovered that, and here we are. And yet, Sarah Chicoria says, I think his latest thing is, why did the NFL go woke and rename the Washington team, put the old name back? Yeah, that's the other thing. Zero Life King, thank you very much for the 500 bits. As a shiny AI Obama video has appeared. That's the other thing. He's been saying that they need to rename a fucking NFL team. Like, anything to give him a different news report. Besides the ones that say that he himself is a person who the Epstein files names. Anything to protect himself from the consequences of his own actions. You please sacrifice your Arabo. Just get rid of it. You don't need it. You don't need it. Don't forget some of the other things he wanted to rename as well. There's a lot. There's a lot. The point in all of this is we did have evidence of Russia interfering with our elections. That existed. We found it. We didn't have evidence of Russia and Trump specifically being best buds, co-conspirators. But Russia interfering with our elections, that was found. Which is not that far off in my opinion. But, you know, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Anyway, what does Tatum have to say about all this?
To try to thwart our constitutional rights, to try to thwart our freedoms in a constitutional republic. You just can't do it. It ain't my fault. Obama shouldn't have done what he did. They shouldn't have pushed the fake Russia collusion. All right, let's get to some news that have come out over the weekend. I always want to talk about news over the weekend, but like at some point I gotta have a day off. Obama ain't going to jail. Did I just bust your bubble? Did I just make you mad? Obama ain't going to jail. I wouldn't even cover this story, but I know some people are interested in seeing what's what. But it's pointless covering the story if you think it's going to be some type of consequences for his actions. He's not going to jail. Hillary ain't going to jail. Clapper ain't going to jail. Brennan ain't going to jail. None of these people going to jail.
You know why most of them aren't going to jail? I mean, aside from the fact that they're elites and it's very hard to get any of them to get in trouble for shit. But no, the main reason most of them aren't going to be going to jail is that they didn't fucking do anything. Like, for them to go to jail, there needs to be something that they did to go to jail for in this case. Now, I'm sure that I could make an argument about Obama needing to go to jail for the corpses that have been levied at his feet because of the drone strikes, but that's a different conversation altogether.
I hate to bust your bubble. This is political theater, like it has always been. Now, I would love to be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll give $100 to somebody. I would love to be wrong. It would make me happy to be wrong. I would celebrate being wrong. But they are not going to send this man to jail. It's only political theater. They talk. Investigation. And before you know it, Obama sitting at the house drinking lattes, chilling on the couch, ain't worried about Nathan. All right? But because I want to do my due diligence and show you guys what's going on, we're going to talk about it. Give me the big screen real quick. I just want to run through a couple things. Tulsi Gabbard released over 100 pages of declassified intel suggesting that Barack Obama's administration weaponized intelligence to frame Donald Trump and Russia collusion.
Okay, so how is this any different from the Hunter Biden laptop shit? Like, this is one of those things where if Obama is guilty of this, or Biden is guilty of this, or whoever at the time is guilty of this, also Trump is guilty too for all the same reasons? Like, this is the Hillary Clinton's email thing. At least Tatum seems to understand, at least a little bit, that it doesn't matter, like, at all. Oh, let's see here. Ninjutsus, let's do... Oh, I can just... But that would make me not have blue available. I'm not doing that. Anyway, at least on some level, he understands. Right? He understands that this is political theater. Now, why is it political theater? It's the Epstein file thing. It's anything at all to try to make the Epstein file thing go away. That's what this is.
So apparently what happened was he was briefed when Trump won the election. He was briefed, before transition, he was briefed that there's no there. And allegedly he said, well, that's not good enough for me. We can't have him be no there because we are going to make the claim to do this and we want this to be a reality. And then allegedly he instructed people to say, well, you need to make the evidence there. You need to find ways to make him guilty about Russian collusion. And allegedly that's what happens. I don't know if that's true, but I know that's what they're saying is true. Gabby called for an investigation, a criminal investigation, and possible prosecution of Obama-era officials. Trump responded. Obviously, Trump is going to respond, and he talking mad crazy. And I'm going to show you his clip here in a minute. And then we're going to go through and say, here are the people who could be implicated. They say Barack Obama, but he's not doing anything. James Clapper, John Brennan, James Comey, and Susan Rice. The same people that should have been arrested for Hillary Clinton's debacle. But because I'm honest and I'm not salacious and I don't want you guys to have a false sense of hope, nothing is going to happen here. But at least we know what they did. At least what we believed is verified. The conspiracy theorists have been correct once again. You know what I find to be interesting is crazy.
Is that evidence that the conspiracy theorists are right once again? That feels like copium to me. That feels like copium to me. Again, like, all you've done is found evidence that one shitty politician slung mud at another one in a way that Trump has already done a billion times. And again, the entire point of this, let me make it clear, the entire point of this is to try to get people talking about anything else other than the Trump-Epstein debacle. So I'm going to do something real quick, just for fun. We're going to move this over here. We're going to kill that screen there. And we are going to just quickly go to Twitter. And what's going to be trending here? Of course, VShojo's trending because of the way they fucked over Iron Mouse. But for a brief time, Arrest Obama was trending. Is it still trending? Let's see here. The Arrest Obama hashtag. That was what I was seeing when I woke up today. Imagine being so angry, heartless, and scared that when Arrest Obama replaces exposed pedophiles, you think it's going to be a great week. Yeah, again, the point of this is to try to get a media stir around anything other than the Epstein files. Now, there is something weird here. Why is Destiny trending? Please tell me that it's the game and not the person. Real quick. Oh. It could be both. Actually. Let's see here. More treason committed by Obama as a new declassified report for the Justice Department reveals he ordered FBI Director James Comey to cover up the Hillary Clinton email scandal. Oh, okay, let's see here. Obama is not in the mood to mar the very final segment of his presidency, his legacy with a scandal around a leading nominee for the Democratic Party. To deal with this, he's using Attorney General Loretta Lynch to mount a pressure on FBI Director James Comey, and so far with no concrete results. Comey is leaning more to Republicans, and more likely he will be dragging this investigation until the presidential elections in order to effectively undermine the chances for the Democratic Party to win in the election. Okay, what's the... Huh? That's not a cover-up. That's just trying to get the story out in a way that doesn't fuck up the elections. Because there ended up not being anything behind the fucking buttery mail scandal in the first place. Do these people just see, like, seditious conspiracy wherever they can? Arrest Obama for trying to tell the people in the government to do their jobs. Okay. Sure, why not? Why not? Tulsi Gabbard threatening to arrest Barack Obama for treason to distract from, more people from Trump being a pedophile is how you know Trump is in the Epstein files. He will do anything. He will distract in any way, shape, and form to try to get people to not talk about him defending pedophiles, which, you know what? We're at that stage where whether or not he's in there as a culprit, he's made every move to make people think he is. Every single thing you can possibly do to make it seem like you are guilty, he has been doing. My God. And the reason I'm not going to push any further into this is I see this for what it is. This is a distraction. This is a distraction from the one thing that is actively dividing his MAGA base. Chris Glazilla did a video recently showing that of the people who report themselves as Republicans or MAGA, there was, a 51% of people who were still on board with the president and a 49% of them who weren't from within his base. Having an almost even split from within your base is not good. At least Trump seems to be learning the lesson of the Streisand effect. Hey, instead of telling people not to talk about the Epstein files, he's throwing everything else he can at the wall and hoping something else sticks. I say, instead of that hashtag of arrest Obama, which doesn't seem to be there as a hashtag anymore, it seems to have disappeared, as in people talked about it for a few hours and then went back to the Epstein stuff. Maybe we just do a different hashtag, talk about distractions and Epstein. I don't know. That seems to be what I would be leaning towards personally. Honestly, were I him. Hoi, oi, oi. That said, we are actually sponsored right now by Cook Unity. I didn't know if you knew that from the thing in the bottom right. You can hit ! Cook Unity during the stream, or you can check the description real quick. But they do want us to play a brief video here during the stream for you all. So we're going to do that real quick.
If you're someone who wants to make great food part of their daily routine, then you need to know about Cook Unity. Cook Unity is the world's first chef-to-you marketplace, delivering dishes across the country with the craft and culinary artistry offered only by top-tier professional chefs. Every week, chefs and their teams prepare meals in small batches in one of 7 regional Cook Unity kitchens around the U.S. This allows us to use the best ingredients, ensure maximum freshness and flavor, and see that there is no food waste. Our mission is to make memorable, restaurant-quality food a daily reality while empowering chefs to share their passion for food and earn a competitive wage beyond the constraints of a traditional restaurant. Now you can eat well and support local chefs, all in one easy meal subscription. So set the table and experience everything our chefs have to offer at cookunity.com.
And there you go. They are sponsored of the channel for the next few weeks. Again, !Cook Unity in the stream, or go in the description of the YouTube video if you are watching on YouTube so that you can find out more. Anything you send over to them, if you subscribe to them through my link, you are supporting my channel directly, and I would be incredibly thankful if you were to. And also, since I'm going to be doing a streamathon, we'll also say that every single person who ends up subscribing or getting a meal kit from them, since I get to see that on my end, then we'll also add that time to the Streamathon as well for when that begins. And if anybody does that before the Streamathon begins, then I will credit that time towards the Streamathon itself. There we go. All that fun stuff. That all said, thank you all for watching. Please don't get distracted. See things for what they are. Trump's probably on the list, though. Like, come on, he was on that plane. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press, though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.